friends, family, and fans, we are here today to honor Aidan, Sneaky Pete Jordan. He was a trailblazer, adventurer, changemaker, friend, coyote trickster, and he always had my back. Many of you have asked, how am I doing? I spent the last 2 weeks remembering my son and looking at photos and videos. I smiled, laughed, shed some tears, but most importantly, I felt the love, even though at times it was hard love. He showed me, and I reciprocated in that love, and I hope today you get to feel the same. After Aidan left the NICU, people suggested that Joan and I read a number of written pieces about parenting a child like Aidan. The first one I connected with was this book, Aidan's Way, and it's actually spelled correctly with an A-N. It was written by Professor Sam Crane. It is a story of a boy's life and a father's journey. And I want to share the prologue with you. A chestnut oak, so huge thousands of oxen could gather in its shade. It measured 100 spans around, and in height it rivaled mountains. It rose 80 feet before the branches began, and dozens of them were so large you could make boats out of them. People came in droves to gaze at the tree. It was like a fair. One day a master carpenter walked past it. He did not stop. His apprentice, however, was deeply impressed. Since I first took up the axe in your service, master, I've never seen timber so marvelous, so full of potential. But you didn't even bother to look at it. The master carpenter scoffed at the lowly apprentice, pointing out all the flaws that his practiced eye could see in the massive, gnarled oak. It's worthless wood. If you made a boat from it, the boat would sink. If you made a coffin out of it, the coffin would rot in no time. If you made tools from it, the tools would break in no time. If you made doors and gates from it, they'd sweat sticky sap. If you made pillars from it, they'd soon be full of termites. That tree has no potential at all. That night, as the master carpenter slept, the tree spoke to him in his dream. What are you comparing me to? Trees of beauty, fine-grained wood, fruit trees, hawthorn, pear, orange, citron. Once their fruit is ripe, they're picked clean, ransacked, and plundered. Their large branches are broken down, their small limbs are scattered. It makes their lives miserable, and instead of living out the years heaven gave them, they die halfway along their journey. All that abuse of the world, they bring it upon themselves. It's like that for all things. I've been perfecting uselessness for a long time. Now close to death, I finally mastered it, and it's of great use to me. When the master carpenter mentioned his dream to the apprentice, the younger man was puzzled. Why, if a tree was determined to be useless, did it serve the village shrine so well? The master carpenter replied, "Shh, say no more. It's only resting there." If people don't have a way of understanding such a great oak, they'll rail against it. Don't you think someone had cut it down long ago if it wasn't by the shrine? Look, it isn't like the rest of us. It's harboring something utterly different. If we praise its practicality, we'll miss the point altogether, won't we?
Two trees in the forest, one was crooked, one was straight. Crimson bark and arrows, needles growing day by day. But though they look so different, they're the joy and the pain, the same side by side. But you get even told, and the darkness else. Seems more people took the more they needed still in the end. Crooked trees were left there after all the work was done. Now they go for weeks and never witness anyone. No one left to tell them if they're broken right or wrong with whispering wind. Oh, can't you see? A crooked tree won't fit into the mill machine. They're left to grow wild and free. I'd rather be a crooked tree. People say I'm different and my way of life seems strange. Took the road less traveled, twists and turns along the way. Like a crooked tree, I'm growing strong day by day as the clouds roll by. The river never wonders why it flows around the bend. The mountain doesn't question how it rose up from the land. So who am I to wish I wasn't just the way I am? Who am I? Oh, can't you see? A crooked tree won't fit into the mill machine. They'll have to grow wild and free. Oh, I'd rather be a crooked tree. A crooked tree won't fit into the mill machine. They'll have to grow wild and free. I'd rather be a crooked tree. Oh, I'd rather be a crooked tree.
Aidan's greatest gift that probably no one in this room can do better is unconditional love. As our brains get in the way of our hearts and soul.
Very strange enchanted boy. They say he wandered very far over land and sea. A little shy and sad of eye, but very wise was he.
Aidan's in Joan's belly in the boundary waters.
I can hear one magic day he passed my way, and as we spoke of many things, fools and kings, this he said to me: the greatest thing you'll ever learn is just to love and be loved.
This is a horse we saw in the Jack's Fork one time. This is a real picture I took, but Aidan was with us. All right, boys, take the stage. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Ted, I know. I know. I put it together and I forgot. Sorry. Okay, boys, now it's the time.
I'm busy.
I should be looking at the programs instead of my notes. So, Kurt has been a longtime friend. He replaced me at Touch of Nature, and he and his partner Tom and I are going to share some wonderful songs that they wrote and by a favorite of ours.
So before I do that, how's everyone doing? My name's Kurt. Say hi, Kurt. Hi, Kurt. So I can't just play this song without telling just a short story about Aidan. And I've spent most of my life running rivers, and a handful of it with Jim and with Aidan. on the Jack's Fork and the 11 Point, the current. There are a couple places on the Jack's Fork that I'll go by now for the rest of my life. I'll always think of Aidan. And one particular trip we were on, we were in a 20-foot Expedition XL canoe, which is a mothership, and had all kinds of gear and all kinds of stuff going on. Aidan's in the middle, you know, and he's got all kinds of stuff, and then Jim's in the front, and I'm in the back. We come around a turn, there's a big group wide, and there's people flipping and jumping in the water and screaming and yelling, and a storm comes in. I mean, not a storm, but a mambo storm. And I'm like, I look up and I see the ridges in the distance disappearing, and you've seen this. And I'm like, this is not good. And so we pull off, and I tie the canoe to a tree, and we're sitting, and this deluge, like sheets of rain just coming down. We had within like 20 minutes, like 2.5 inches of water in the canoe. Aidan's sitting there just getting drenched, and Jim, he's a little scared, you know. And I'm like, oh man. So that passes, and then all of a sudden I see another storm coming across, worse. And I'm like, oh, Jim, this is not good. So we get Aidan, we pick him up, we get him up onto the sandbar, and we plant him in the sand. You know, I get out, tie the canoe, flip it over, tie both ends off like that. This storm starts hitting, go bam, bam, rain coming down. And I think in the canoe was the biggest umbrella you'd ever seen that was given to me by WGN-TV during the last eclipse. It was big enough to open up, and all three of us could get underneath this, one of those mambo umbrellas. And I stuck it in the sand, you know, thinking, okay, if lightning hits it, it's going to go right down, no problem. So I said, Jim, hang on to the umbrella. So Jim hangs onto the umbrella, and Aidan's hunkered down. It was raining so hard. How hard was it?
How hard is it?
That it was a waterfall of rain coming off that umbrella, 360. You could not see out. It's just coming down. And I'm thinking, man, we got to protect Aidan. I look at Aidan. Aidan's got a big smile on his face. And he's just like, he's loving it. Big crash of lightning. And I'm like, oh, I look at Aidan. Aidan's like, yeah. I look over at Jim, and he's whimpering in the corner. And we never laughed so hard in our lives. And I'll never go past the confluence of the Jack's Fork and the current without thinking of Aidan in his water wings, I call him. And there's some folks up there on the sandbar. And Jim had this notorious habit of just, you know Aidan. You know, you could tell that Aidan had some issues, you know, and we'd watch him in the water. And Jim standing there, and this family's up on the sandbar. He picks Aidan up and just throws him into the current river. And the couple up there going, oh my God, you know. And right then, Aidan's laughing and screaming and yelling. It was just, he was in, closest thing to heaven before now was in the water. Here's a song called Fly to the Moon. Thinking about you and all the places we've been, all the places we're going to. When I'm with you, I run like the wind. We climbed up the mountains, felt the wind blowing free. We danced on the desert sand and fell in love with a coral reef. But someday we'll fly to the moon, even though it's made out of cheese. Hey, there'll be light on the dark side too, as long as you're there with me. Chasing rainbows with the pouring rain, we felt the storm closing in. An empty pot at the end of the bowl means that the gold's in the palm of your hand. But someday we'll fly to the moon, even though it's made out of cheese. There'll be light on the dark side too, as long as you're there with me. Hey, let's get out the map and the compass too. Chart a course for a distant land somewhere on the face of the moon. But someday we'll fly to the moon, not even though it's made out of cheese. There'll be light on the dark side too, as long as you're there with me. There'll be light on the dark side too, as long as you're there with me. He had a very unique, Jim had a nickname, Sneaky Pete, and he'd, steal your glasses, and everyone's seen all that. But his sense of humor was one of a kind.
And how many in this room actually experienced his right sense of humor? I did. No. So there's a singer-songwriter who also had a wry sense of humor, and he died during the pandemic. And who was that?
Wait, I know who that is. John Prine.
And Aidan got to see John Prine twice at Roots and Blues with me, and it was definitely a highlight. All right, should we hit it?
Okay.
Something this morning, pick you and I, and know what a feeling when my soul went through the sea. See how the living on the ground. When I got there, they did say it had been so. You tried to rhino hit you in the head, rhino virus, and all the angels say just before you pass away. These were the very last words that you said. Please don't bury me down in the cold, cold ground. I'd rather have a copy of the letter for your ground. In a hurricane, black and my eyes. All the time, they don't mind the sound.
You must have been to me in St. Louis if they ran out of smoothies. Put the Crocs in a bowl with a straw cup in a koozie. All my counselors can have some hugs. Look out, I got your glasses. Step up, hard to the junk man and give my love to your lasses.
Please don't bury me down in the cold, cold ground. I'd rather have a copy of the letter for your ground. Don't bring a hurricane in my eyes. And all the years you don't mind the sound. Give my braces to Footloose, careless, fancy free. Give my thing to the needy. Now don't you pull that stuff on me. Hand down my kid walker, it's a sin to tell lies. Send my mouth way down south, kiss my ass goodbye. Down in the cold, cold ground, I'd rather doctors help me up there know their route. Throw my brain in a hurricane and blind in my eyes. Both of my ears, they don't mind the sight. Aidan Jordan.
ridiculous. Now we'll come back to the sublime. Some of you know this story. Aidan was born in St. Mary's Hospital, and Joan was convinced she was going to have a girl. She had picked out a name. She had gotten together the color and all the accoutrements for the bedroom. And we looked at boys' names for about 30 seconds. Well, Aidan was having trouble breastfeeding, and she's going, "Come on, Bubba, get with the program." It's like, we are not calling her some Bubba. So we started looking back in through the names, and we kept coming back to Aidan. And Aidan means fiery one. Well, the next day, Aidan was rushed to St. Louis Children's Hospital, NICU. And they did an operation, and the surgeon came out after 2.5 hours, and he said, "I went in the GI tract and I untangled all of his bowels, and blood flowed through, and there could be 3 possible outcomes. I'll know tomorrow if it's all viable, if some of it has to be sectioned, or if it's not viable." And then he said, "I spent most of my time working on what's the IV for an infant, which is putting an IV into the aorta." And he said, "I got it close, but I'll finish it up tomorrow." So that night, we asked friends and families to light candles. And Joan and I slept, amazingly enough. The next day, surgery took a half hour. The surgeon, Dr. Foglia, came out and said, out of a scale of 1 to 10, I'd give it 11. All of his intestines and bowels were viable, and the Broviac moved on its own to the correct position. So, one thing with Aidan, a few days later, we found out that he had trisomy 9. And like, what does that mean? Well, Aidan outlived his life expectancy by 25 years, according to what they found in the literature. They doubted he was going to live 1 year old. And I discovered a special friend down at SIU Carbondale, Debbie Bruns, who's the only person in the U.S. studying trisomy 9 as well as other trisomies. So I'm going to invite Debbie up here to share a few remembrances from her and other trisomy 9 families.
Thank you, Jim. I want to share a few thoughts that I have, and as Jim mentioned, I'll read some messages that several trisomy 9 families have shared with Jim. And I also want to let you know that I'm wearing purple for a reason. Each type of trisomy condition has a color related to it, and purple is the color for trisomy 9. So I hope all of you can look in your closets and look for something that's purple, and when you wear it, please think of Aidan and all of the other children with this condition. So when I started my time in the rare trisomy community, it was as a classroom teacher many, many years ago. And I worked with some children with trisomy 18. I had never heard of it. The only information I saw were autopsy photos, but I had these children in front of me. Skip ahead many years, that's what pushed me to start my project. And I really didn't know where it was going to lead me, but I had found my passion and my research agenda to change the narrative on behalf of these children and adults. Aidan and Jim have participated in the project and, more importantly, been a part of my life and my family's life for the past 16 years. And remember, he was only supposed to live a year. Aidan made a huge impression on my own children. The diagnosis didn't matter. They both saw someone who had a great deal to offer. They saw him smile, make his happy noises, and he created a bond with them both. So Jim, they also said it. My husband would also comment about Aidan's positive demeanor and his energy after a visit. Usually these visits were in our pool, on a pontoon boat, in a lake, always around water, definitely Aidan's happy place. And also Aidan showed me that there were no limits. A diagnosis is a description, but not a prescription for life. And Aidan had an amazing one that we should all aspire to. So my words to Aidan are fly high, have more adventures, and please keep an eye on your trisomy 9 brothers and sisters. This next message comes from a mom who has known Jim and Aidan for many years, and she wanted to share how she met Aidan and Jim and Joan when Aidan was a little tight. My first impression of this lovely family was how grounded and focused on life Jim and Joan were. This is a gift that they shared with Aidan. Until Joan died, and one which Jim continued to share with Aidan for his entire life. Jim's love, advocacy, and activism within the special needs and disability community and the greater community as a whole, including his desire for inclusion for Aidan. All this allowed Aidan to live a full life with the people and the activities that he loved. And because of this, Aidan became an ambassador, not just for inclusion, but for love and joy for the greater community. She continues, when you think of Aidan, reflect on him dancing with abandon at the many music concerts he attended with Jim, his face lit with joy and delight. Think of him trekking through national and state parks, swimming in lakes and rivers, enjoying the vast wonders and beauty of nature. Think of him sporting that stash with an undeniable and debonair flair. Think of him meeting celebrities and members of the community and changing their view on inclusion, just through his presence and engagement, his humor, and his love of life. Think of how much he was able to communicate, not with words, but with vocalizations, body language, and the sheer light of love and joy in his eyes. And when you do, please join me in thanking Aidan for being part of our lives and for leaving a legacy of love and joy in our world. She ends by saying, thank you, Aidan. Say hi to your mom for me. And that's from Lori, Brian, Jacob, The next message begins with, raising a child with a chromosomal abnormality is not for the faint of heart. It requires determination, creativity, adaptability, and resilience, among many other attributes. We certainly strive to provide for our children's complex medical needs, an array of therapies and special educational needs. But the one thing we want for our children above all else is for them to be happy. I think most parents would agree that we measure our success as a parent by whether or not our children are happy. Anyone who has ever had the pleasure of meeting Aidan knows what a great job his beautiful mom and his fun-loving dad did. Aidan was one of the happiest, most adventurous, fun-loving young man I've ever had the pleasure of knowing. He also had a wonderful, fun-loving, and mischievous sense of humor. From a very young age, Aidan was all about being in the water. And as you know, this was one of the favorite activities of his whole life. Aidan also loved music, and as he got older, attended concerts. I remember when Aidan was very young, he enjoyed being held and sung to, put to bed being told it was bedtime for Bonzo. To see his face light up and smile ear to ear with this little game would make your entire day better. All of his favorite activities were made twice as sweet for him when done in the arms of his mom or dad. Like many of his trisomy 9 brothers and sisters, Aidan was considered, quote, nonverbal. But let me tell you, he had a way of getting his point across and letting you know exactly what he wanted. Aidan was a pure, loving soul who touched the life of every single person who ever had the pleasure of coming in contact with him. and that's a lot of people. He was a gift to this world and certainly made it a better place. It only took a few minutes in his presence to be reminded what matters most in this world, to laugh and love unconditionally. Another parent wrote, Jim has been an advocate for trisomy 9 mosaic and has shared his experiences with Aidan to help other families. So Aidan was an example for the younger ones and gave hope to the new families. From surgeries to procedures, he battled all obstacles with Jim's love for him. Jim is a hero in my eyes in the way he took care of Aidan and the trips that they took. He exposed him to so many adventures, from swimming to gardening and all the concerts they enjoyed. Obviously, Aidan was loved by anyone that met him, including his caretakers, doctors, and nurses. And this is from Gabby and Philip. And finally, you and Aidan were an inspiration for all. You ensured Aidan had an abundant life full of adventure and love. You embraced it all with gusto, and he was able to enjoy activities that some of us who are without challenges would shy away from. I'm in awe of your selflessness to give him so many memories of a life well lived. We all should take this as a lesson for our own journeys, with our own kids, or in my case, my grandson. Thank you for sharing your journey. I hope the many memories you created carry you through the loss of your greatly loved son.
Thank you, So Joan was a part of Aidan's life for his first 7.5 years. And she saw the potential in Aidan better than I did. I was a dad that bounced him around and threw him around and did all the stuff dads do. But Joan really worked to allow Aidan to do things that many people didn't think they'd be able to. And I'd like to invite Vicki McMullen up, who will share something that her and Joan penned.
I was thinking back when I was rewriting this, that my family met Joan and Jim Jordan over 30 years ago at a St. Cronan's picnic. And what I remember about that is that without hesitation, they came and sat and talked with us. Now that doesn't seem remarkable, but Ron, my son, is remarkably different. And they were a number of years later, Aidan was born and rushed into surgery. Sometime in the first 2 weeks, I called Joan and I said, because we were acquaintances at that point, I called Joan and I said, I know you don't understand this now, but we're about to become very good friends. And I proceeded to overload her with information. I did step back and let her have time to grow used to the idea of what it was going to be like caring and loving for someone so different. She came around when Aidan was 2. She took all of my graduate courses in severe developmental disabilities and autism, so she could be ready. Right before Aidan was about to be tested for his kindergarten evaluation, she called me because she'd been asked to fill out a Bible and adaptive behavior test. For those of you who have never had the fun experience of filling those out, it's pretty obvious that it's not helpful for someone who is scoring 0 in any of the categories. So, Joan and I were talking about this, and I said, well, what about asking them to use the calibers in Zone, or maybe the Carolina? And she's like, no, need a new scale, something that measures enjoyment of life, courage, and perseverance. So Albert Einstein once said, not everything that can be counted is important, and not everything that is important can be counted. My son can count to 20. Aidan spent some years working on one-to-one correspondence of putting one object into one picture. It wasn't important. So, despite the fact that Aidan needed extensive physical and communicative supports every day of his life, we knew that his worth to society was measurable. His worth was not determined by what he did, but by who he was and how people around him were affected in his presence. So, Joan and I decided to create a new custom statement that would show the immeasurable importance of life of individuals who at first glance had little to offer to society. In order to make it more obvious, we developed a scale designed to measure that which most educational evaluations ignore. And this scale balances out the negative labels that are sometimes attached to them. So I give you a measure of the immeasurable. On this scale, Aidan shows delight, with belly laughs, guffaws, and whole body shimmies. He experienced courage frequently through medical procedures, handling new faces, trying new things. He persisted multiple times, even if he cried, even if he failed. Even if he failed, I wasn't using my teacher voice, I guess. Even if he failed and even if it hurt, he did it again. He persisted. He displayed affection very frequently with his generous smiles. And he demonstrated capability, something not usually attached to individuals like Aidan. He demonstrated the capability, as Debbie said, to communicate without words, to get his needs met, to recognize familiar routines. These last two categories may be the most important. He inspired others to be selfless, to persist despite failed attempts, to persist despite slow progress, to be creative in teaching them, and to be fully present in the moment. Some of us have worked spiritually for a long time to be present in the moment. People like Aidan are. He taught gratitude, unconditional love, hope, perspective taking, an appreciation of one's own physical and mental capacities, and awe at the capacity of the human spirit. According to this scale, Aidan was immeasurably awesome.
Gaylord, who's going to share a William Ackerman with us. Thank you, Gaylord. So this next slideshow is a song that Joan and I sang to Aidan a lot, and it kind of leads into the next section. I would sing this to Aidan when he was at Children's Hospital. And some of you may know the singer is John Lithgow. So I spent a lot of time at Children's Hospital, close to a year. And it was actually a very heartwarming and special time. What the staff did to make parents like us feel more calm, feel that our child was in more than just capable hands, but loving hands. And one time I wrote a passage that I passed on to the Children's Hospital PICU attendings. And I was told that this was placed in a very prominent area where they would all the nurses and the staff would read it. That was in the bathroom on the inside of stalls. So I'm going to share this with you. I submitted an essay to NPR series, this I believe shortly after Aidan's mom passed from leukemia. In it I expressed my belief in the power that a community could bring to a situation combined with knowledge and science, and it guides my beliefs in everyday life. I also expressed my confidence in the medical staff I have encountered, looking beyond the illness to the big picture and family. I have once again been struck by the care and love that permeates St. Louis Children's Hospital, especially the pediatric ICU. I noticed the shirt with the PICU definition that some of the staff members had worn. I think the second definition is more correct, a place where miracles can occur. I do not kid myself that it always works out the way one hopes for, as my wife died in Siphons. But again, care and love were present at many levels. So I believe in Children's Hospital, the staff from the attendings, fellows, and residents, to the nurses and respiratory therapists, to the support staff, like housekeeping, the research studies that have made medical care better, the ER who responded immediately and saved his life, and the positive energy that I feel every time I come to the 7th floor, now the 8th floor. When I arrived with Aidan, I did not know what to think or feel. I went into autopilot, analyzing the situation and collecting information to help me assess what I should do. I knew Aidan was strong, but this was a very serious situation. I had flashbacks to the NICU 11 years ago when we had come to the 7th floor. There was so much unknown about trisomy 9 that would make his trajectory to recovery different. I was once again part of the team. The staff listened to me as I tried to provide useful information. I listened to the staff and felt a balance between the parents' need for a swift recovery and the realistic path towards recovery. I felt comfortable with everyone and appreciated the smiles and support. I was able to joke and believe that laughter is the best medicine for the parents as well as the patients. This morning, Aidan's nurse told me that he was really a ladies' man. That Aidan has developed quite a following of the staff that looked after him and are interested in his well-being and recovery. Aidan has always attracted people to him. I believe that our society needs people like Aidan in our everyday life to emphasize the value of diversity and that all people are equal. Whether it is during a crisis, or school, or meeting at the pool, love and care are universal and bring out the best in us. Aidan reminds me that the greatest gift you'll ever learn is just to love and be loved in return, that we heard earlier. May you always continue to find hope, strength, compassion, and love when you come to work. May you always leave knowing that you are touching the hearts of many. And thank you for what you do. So, all of Aidan's primary physician, who we decided on before Aidan was born, so he had no idea what he was getting into for the last 26 years. This is Danny Platt, so let's give him a
Thank you. It's an honor to be here. I have the privilege and honor of being Aidan's doctor. What a remarkable medical journey. He was one of my first patients as a primary care pediatrician and humbled me for the next 26 years. Aidan's life began as a medical mystery. Shortly after birth, he briefly stopped breathing. His diagnosis was unsure, leading to surgery in the first week of life. The medical team expected a lot worse, as Jim shared, and he came through this procedure incredibly well, setting a theme for his life. I remember vividly sitting in the conference room with Jim and Joan in the neonatal intensive care unit and listening to a well-respected team of experienced physicians explain the rarity of this condition and explain patiently that Aidan had a 50% chance of surviving his first year. We missed it by that much. I thought we were kind to set lower expectations. Aidan and his parents did not read the medical literature, they wrote their own. He went from being one of my first patients to being my oldest. By the way, still what the medical literature says is a long life of people with trisomy 9 is 6 years. Joan and Jim were incredible parents. As a young child, he never had a bed sore and rarely a diaper rash. Joan would take him places in his stroller, on walks outside, taking him to therapies and numerous doctor's appointments, all while keeping his face dry and his diaper changed. Our appointments would be more like exchanges of information rather than me giving a lot of advice. His parents prepared typed pages that summarized his medical care plan they shared with me and his caregivers that we would review together. I'll never forget, on page 7, under seizure care, after a list of 10 steps, there was a statement in capital letters that said, "Don't panic, call Jim." And during our appointments, Aidan would seem to be in his sleep in his chair, tolerate the exam, then become more animated and wake up as he left the office to go swimming in the Maryland Richmond Heights pool. He lived through surgeries and seizures. He lived through countless intensive care admissions. He often seemed to fall ill right before I would leave town, so I stopped telling him my vacation plans. His vital signs would read like random lottery numbers: 42, 91, 84, which was his pulse, body temperature, and respiratory rate. Thoughtful intensive care doctors like John Lynn and Matt Goldsmith would just say, I don't know, but he would survive. And as he recovered, he would sit there in his chair, and we would review swallow studies that looked like he swallowed fluid just directly into his lungs. Meanwhile, he would sit contentedly in this chair, enjoying his smoothies. His physiology mystified me. He must have been powered by the life force from his remarkable mother, who surrendered too soon, and the care provided by so many of you in this room, but especially by his father, Jim. So what did I learn from Aidan? What medical knowledge should I take? Listen to medical advice, follow some of it, exceed expectations, enjoy eating, especially smoothies or ice cream. Get outside, paddle a canoe, listen to good music, and go swimming often. And if you're not sure what to do, don't panic, call Jen.
Very quickly, I'm going to share a conversation that Aidan and I had in the PICU on Christmas Eve. Hey, Dad. What, Aidan? I've been watching that tower crane right next door and been charting the movement. Even have used some trick and can calculate how far it gets from the window. I have a plan. Want to hear it? Trick, huh? That is good. I like the way you're applying math in real-world context. Yeah, I'm all ears, Aidan. Well, you see how they come up with a load of metal for the new addition to the hospital? Yeah, go on. Notice after unloading its load, it swings way out before it gently goes back to the ground. By my calculations, it'll come within 5.8 meters of our window. If we wait till it is a little above the 11th floor, we were on the 12th floor at this time, we should be able to jump and land on the platform. Okay, I'm hearing that you're ready to leave this joint, but we have your chair and all the other stuff. Call my friend's dad to come up and sing carols, and then they can take it down and drop it off at our home. Okay, give me a second, Aidan. Okay, they're on their way. What next? Am I correct that if we do that today, we'll be home Christmas Eve? Correct the mundo, son. Having you home on Christmas is the best gift the son could give to the pop. And Dad being home with you on Christmas is the best gift you could give to me. Even if I still have this feeding to the small change considering everything so far this month. I agree, Aidan. I just want to tell you that you're the bravest person I've ever met. I love you too, Dad. Are we ready? Anytime you say so. Okay, let's open the window. Bye-bye, Club Children's, and thanks, Dad, for being my dad. Ditto for you being my son. Let's go! That's an email I sent out on Christmas Eve. Okay, give me a second. Can I have all the care providers of Aidan please stand up? All of you remain standing if Aidan didn't love you. You all better sit down. Aidan had a special bond with all the care providers, and it was unique for each one. Some of them could read to him for 10, 15 minutes. Others, he'd rip the book out of their hands and throw it. Others, he insisted to go for a walk out in the neighborhood. Others, it's like, no, let's go to the swivel swing. So Aidan, like us, had a personality that expressed his relationship with each of them. And Margot, one of the care providers, is going to share a song and then a brief remembrance. So take it away, Margot.
It's nice to see all the other care providers out there. That some I met, some I probably haven't, but I was one of the originals. Oh, we go way back. Way. Way over yonder is a place that I know, where I can find shelter from hunger and cold, and the sweet taste and good life is so easily found. Way over yonder, that's where I'm bound. I know when I get there, the first thing I'll see is the sun shining golden, shining right down on me. And trouble's gonna lose me, worry leave me behind. And I'll stand uprightly in true peace of mind. Talking about a way over yonder, in a place I have seen, in the garden of wisdom, from some long ago dream. Oh, maybe tomorrow I'll find my way to the land where the honey runs in rivers each day, and the sweet tasting good life is so easily found. Way over yonder, that's where I'm bound. Oh, way over yonder, that's where I'm bound. Sorry, there's a little narrow edge there, so I can try to take a chance on that. So good to see such a great turnout. I'm going to try and get through this. I made it through the song to the end and then I cracked. So anyway, I met Jim and Aidan, I think it was about 2008. And it was such a pleasure meeting them. And in being a care provider for Jim and Aidan, I had my own son, who is actually the same age as Aidan, 5 months younger actually. And I was homeschooling him, so I would take him over to Aidan's house with me. My son to interact with Aidan, but you know, kids have their own opinions. But I do remember, I'm sorry, I do remember one very specific time. My son is a baseball player, and now he's a coach, and has succeeded very well in what he's doing. But his name is Morgan, and he at one time brought his baseball glove and one of his balls over to Aidan's house with me. And I said, let's go outside and let's play baseball with Aidan. So we went outside, and Aidan in his chair, and my son out in the field, in the backyard. And I said, okay, put the ball on Aidan's lap and let him pitch it to you. So he did, and it took a few tries, but he took the ball. Aidan just shoved it off his lap, and it went rolling into the grass. But we cheered him on because he actually hit the ball, and we called it a home run, of course. But that was just such a very special experience for me to see that interaction. Aidan was afraid of nothing. I remember another time when we were going on an outing, and I don't remember how, but put Aidan in the car, put my things in the car, realized I forgot something. So I was going to go back inside the house and realized I locked everything in the car with Aidan in the summer in St. Louis, you know. I cannot remember. I racked my brain to try and remember how we got him out of there, but somebody did come and help and, you know, got the lock open.
You never told that to me, Mark.
Oops. Am I fired? Yeah, well, there's a reason why I didn't tell you. I did a job. But yeah, he was safe. He was very safe, and he was fine. Of course, Aidan is like, oh, okay, whatever. I had a nickname for him, and it was not the typical one that we all called him. It's Sneaky Pete and whatever else. I called him Sugar Booger. And he seemed to laugh at that. I remember playing guitar and singing with him, specifically around Christmas time. And yes, he got me hooked on hummus, one of my favorite foods now too. So, and I've had several dreams about Aidan. I don't know why, but I guess my subconscious thinks about it every so often. And in these dreams, Aidan is always walking. And I've always wanted that dream to come true. Well, he's probably walking now. But Friday night, I had a dream about Aidan. Did you ever do? This time, not only was Aidan walking, but he was talking. And just sweet, sweet words. Nothing elaborate, but he was talking. And that dream touched me, kind of timely. And Jim, thank you so much for putting this all together so that we can all celebrate Aidan. He's touched me in more ways than I can even count. And I'm blessed to be a part of his life and to be a part of Jim's life. And you are an amazing, and I don't even know what word it is, but you are just so amazing with what you've done for and with Aidan. And it's a blessing. Thank you, Jim.
hit the space bar. Hey, Aidan. What's up? Where's Franz?
He loves multiple characters. He really does love multiple characters. So if you're really talented at making up different characters, whether they're cartoons or just do it for Aidan, because he's with his name. Right. He's named Aidan, I call him Bam.
All right, Aidan, look up here. Aidan. Hey, Aidan. Say bye-bye. Okay, thank you. I'm going to just share one thing about school and then invite to one teacher and one supervisor up. Not only the teachers and staff take care of Aidan, but they also took care of me in the hospital. Because the superintendent one day sent the inclusion facilitator up with an $80 bottle of scotch to deliver to me. I didn't drink it in the hospital, it was against the rules, but I thought about it. Okay, so Cindy and then Katina.
Hi, I'm Cindy Martin, and I was Aidan's high school teacher at Maplewood Richmond Heights High School. I was a social studies teacher. I have to tell you that I could talk to kids all day long, but looking at a room full of adults really kind of freaks me out. So bear with me. I said I was Aidan's teacher. That's not completely true. There were many, many times when Aidan was my teacher. And there were many, many times when Aidan was my co-teacher, because I wasn't the only one who learned from him. Aidan influenced the way I taught. When I started teaching, I was a sit-and-get kind of teacher. I taught, students would pretend to listen. We'd read a text, do a worksheet, take a test. Then Aidan came into my classroom. Now, Jim let us all know from the start that Aidan doesn't sit and get. He didn't engage that way. It wasn't good for him to just be in the classroom. He needed more. In the beginning, I had no idea what that meant. But what I learned changed my relationship with Aidan, and it changed my relationship with teaching. I was lucky enough to teach social studies, the history of humans, stories. And because Aidan needed more stimulus, engagement, interaction, connection, I started teaching those stories with my students as the main characters. They became hunters and gatherers, French voyageurs, that was Jim's, soldiers, emperors. Aidan went on trial as Christopher Columbus for crimes against the indigenous people of the West Indies. He painted the Sistine Chapel. He was Odysseus sailing through the dangerous waters between Scylla and Charybdis. He was a king, a soldier, a Roman senator. He was even the projectile when we learned about gunpowder. And he taught the class the purpose of the compass. Okay, he was the compass, and he loved it. Not every class was a reenactment, but as often as we could, we made those stories come alive. And it was so much more. Not only did I become a better teacher, but everyone in my class, including me, became a better person. Aidan taught us how to connect with each other, to include each other, to be kind and patient and compassionate. I know his other teachers and all the people in the school who worked with him feel the same. Working with Aidan brought our teaching to a new level. Being with Aidan brought our wholeness and humanity to a new level, and I'll always be grateful.
When they studied the Black Plague, Aidan went through the hallway throwing rats in other classrooms that they would die.
Hi, I'm Katina Lyles, and along the lines of what Cindy Martin was sharing, I was a special ed administrator for 7 years when Aidan was in MRH. And what I would tell you that I have taken away, because I'm still in ed leadership, he really did teach me what inclusion meant. I have taken those lessons beyond, like Cindy said, it made her a better teacher, it made me a better leader. And as I am able to impact others, there's an opportunity to really talk about what inclusion means. It's not about that one-to-one correspondence, right? It's about what that individual child needs, and Aidan taught us what he needed to be successful, and we needed to listen. And so since then, I've had the opportunity to share that. I may not use Aidan's name, but I've used Aidan in many examples of what it means to truly listen to. What is the family telling us? What is the child telling us? And what do they really need to thrive in the educational environment? And for that, thank you, Vicki. Thank you, Jim. And thank you, Aidan.
Okay, this next piece, Bob Heck is going to lead it, but I'm going to put up a YouTube, and I hope that people will join in on singing Beautiful Boy, everybody else.
He's getting it together. I'll share a couple quick memories of Aidan. I met him for the first time at a Navigators, which is this scouting program here at the Otherville Society. And not surprisingly, my first experience with him was sitting with him after a float trip in the shallow water, of all places, and enjoying the river. Subsequently, that led to coming to be invited to play over at his house, and spent a couple of stints at Children's Hospital, where my favorite memory of all is listening to the kids announce the levels on the elevator. But after an adult, you get a kid and see where you're going or where you're arriving. I like that a lot. Subsequently, when this song crossed my path, I've never been able to play it without thinking of Aidan. And to me, it expresses the classical love and affection and concern that a parent has for their child. In this case, obviously, John Lennon for his son, Sean. And I play at various hospitals and medical centers, and whenever I play this song, people seem to really be taken to it, and sometimes they stop by the piano and ask about it. And I have the pleasure of explaining about John Lennon and his son, Sean, but I also have the pleasure of introducing them to the character Aidan. And it's a very nice memory, it's a very nice thing to happen. To that end, you're going to see in the lyrics at the very end, the only time in the song Sean's name is brought up, and I recommend we simply change that to Aidan today for this particular version.
Ready, Bob?
Close your eyes, have no fear. The monster's gone, it's on the run, and your daddy's here. Beautiful, 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 beautiful boy.
Beautiful, 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 beautiful. Before you go to sleep, say a little prayer. Every day, in every way, it's getting better and better. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Out on the ocean, sailing away, I can hardly wait to see you come of age. But I guess I'll just have to be patient, 'cause it's a long way to go, a hard road to hoe. Yes, it's a long way to go, but in the meantime, before you go to sleep, cross the road, take my hand. Life is what happens to you, you're busy making other plans. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. Before you go to sleep, say a little prayer. Every day, in every way, it's getting better and better. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. Darling, 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 darling. Everybody knew Aidan loved music and dancing, from John Hartford Festival to seeing Trombone Shorty twice. He loved New Orleans music. We participated in the parade to the St. Louis Boogie Brass Stand down Cherokee Street. But the creme de la creme. This is after the St. Louis the last time we did it. He's going, you. A special song that Kurt is going to sing regards to Aidan's love of music and dancing.
I shared with Jim an inspirational reading that I came across that read, I asked God to heal my disabled son, but God said no. His spirit is whole. His body is temporary.
While I'm singing this song, I want you to do a couple things for Jim. Jim mentioned the power of community, and I'm looking at a very powerful community. Some of you may have been in the prayers for Aidan that night long ago for Jim and Joan. You're in the room now. So while I'm singing this song, let the words float in the room. I want you to think of the most precious memory that you have of Aidan. The one that makes you go like this. The one that makes you laugh. The one that makes you cry. And send your heartfelt energies to Joan, to Aidan, and to Jim. Remember me, I am water. Remember me, I am stone. I am breath in the mist. I am bird flying home. I am home to the flowers. I'll return to you each spring to cleanse your soul. I'll send you showers, these gentle gifts to you I'll bring. I am still against my will. I am still I'm still dancing. I'm still dancing. I am wind in the treetops. I am dancing in the leaves. Like the wind, I cast no shadow. Like a soul that's been set free, I am still against my will. I am still I'm still dancing. I'm still dancing. I am hope. I am wonder. as you wander through the years. And through the years, you will discover only laughter dries the tears. So dry your tears with the sunrise. Let the sun set light the way where the moon beams through the twilight as you dream your night away. Now my dreams, yours to borrow, from spark the fire starts. Chart a course they may follow. Let your compass be your heart. I am still against my will. I am still I'm still dancing. I'm still dancing. Remember me, I'm water. Remember me, I'm stone. I am breath in the mist. I am bird, I am home. I am bird, I am home.
This is a swivel swing. And the kid walker. Aidan wanted to do that 90% of the time down the river. Mom, don't watch this. This was a practice to the next one. Yeah. Hey, buddy.
Jim, what was that he said when he passed you there?
Can I do it again?
Yeah.
Here you come, buddy. You're fine. I know you're leaning a little bit. He did it 3 times that day. I know we're running late, so let's do this. Can we do I'll Fly Away as a group, and the musicians that sing come on up? So I'll share a quick story with you. So when it was determined that Aidan wouldn't be able to sustain life, we were told that when disconnect everything, it could either be 2 breaths or 5 minutes. So how long did the boy breathe? And I did a jazzy and old-time interpretation of the song, improvising verse after verse after verse after verse. And then at the very end, peace close our hands, last breath, and then release.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Aidan. Aidan reminded me that it's hard to be a human being, but it's a wonderful thing, and he did it well. One bright morning, when this life is over, I'll fly away to a place on God's celestial shore. I'll fly away. I'll fly away, oh glory. I'll fly away. Hallelujah, my God.
just a few weary days and then I'll fly away. We'll be together by and by again. I'll fly away. I'll fly away, oh glory. I'll fly away. When I die, when the shadows of this life have grown, I'll fly away. Like a bird through prison bars has flown, I'll fly away. I'll fly away, oh glory, I'll fly away. When I die, I'll give you all my.
Who has the collection plate?
I'll fly away, oh glory, I'll fly away. When I die, I'll be on my. I'll fly away.
Shall the community proclaim that Aidan will not dance? Shall the community proclaim that Aidan hated being sneaky Pete and never grabbed glasses? No! Shall the community proclaim that inclusion was not important to Aidan? No! Shall the community proclaim that Aidan, being a crooked tree, has less value than normal trees? Shall the community proclaim that will Aidan ever be forgotten? No! No, 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 no. No! 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 The last time. No. Shall the community proclaim that Aidan's spirit will fly, soar, swim, and float down rivers? Yes! So with this next one, Michael, and this will be the last, Michael Barks is going to lead us in it. And amen means so be it. And it's been adopted in many ways with hymns, prayers, proclamations. And I hope that you will join in on the chorus that's up here. This was written by the St. Louis Jesuit community. Want to put it down? Or is it?
Brothers and sisters, stand you hear what the people say, amen. Stand and put away all fear, let all the people say, amen. Stand and hear the call anew, people say, amen. Hear the promise deep within you, let all the people say, amen. Amen, amen. Let all the people say amen. Amen. Oh, let all the people say amen. Hear the promise that we give. People say amen. For it's in our hearts that the Spirit lives. Let all the people say amen. Lovers of the Spirit's fire, let the people say amen. Sing out your heart's desire, let all the people say amen. Amen, amen, let all the people say amen. Amen, oh, let all the people say amen. A Blessings to all blessed poor, let the people say amen. Light to eyes now dark with mourning, let all the people say amen. To the gentle of peace be given, let the people say amen. And the thirst for right will bring its truth, let all the people say amen. Amen, amen, let all the people say amen. Amen, oh, let all the people say amen. To the bearers of mercy, mercy shown, let the people say amen. No fear of hate, for we never to toil alone, all the people say amen. On the makers of peace, may peace descend, let the people say amen. To seekers of love, a vision without end, the people say amen. Amen, amen, let all the people say amen. Amen, oh, let all the people say amen. Amen, amen, let all the people say amen. Amen, oh, let all the people say amen.
Go to Firefox, second tab. Go to Firefox. Yep. And second tab.
Thank you, all of you, for attending. We welcome you to come downstairs for fellowship, sharing food, and other stories. And let's keep Aidan in our memories and hearts. Thank you. There will be a platter or a smorgasbord of Aidan's suppers that you're welcome to sample.